You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no, no, it's another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Yay!
Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this June 16th, 2021, literally 1 week away from our first annual Step Up to the Bar legal conference and awards banquet that will be happening live on YouTube at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be 2 hours live. We have celebrities and unknowns galore from different walks of life, and it's going to be a general clusterfuck. So everybody should expect that. We'll be giving away what we call TFTs, totally fungible tokens, which means you can do whatever you want with them, and you can look up the word fungible in your own time. Anyway, today we have a couple of very special guests, unusual for us because we never have special guests. But these guys are special. They're from the Washdown podcast. We have Jeremy and Chris, and their podcast deals with mental health issues. Did I say health? Mental health.
You got it close enough.
For first responders, firemen, police officers, veterans, and a whole gamut of others that we probably can't even think of. And they'll also be helping us later on with our client for today, road rage and bike path bitterness. All right, so Greg, you've watched a full episode of theirs, so what do you have to ask these fellows?
First, I want to say you're the first guest we've had that are actually heroes, not just special. We've never interviewed a hero before. But
I appreciate that.
I rarely think of questions for the guests. I just hope they'll talk, and then I can bounce off them. But here's the
we do the same thing.
In this day and age, do we still really need firefighters?
What?
Yeah.
No, nothing burns anymore, Greg. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm kidding.
Everything just goes out by itself. It's all just...
It'll go out eventually.
Yeah.
I was trying to make some thought-provoking question.
Well, like they say, all bleeding eventually stops. All fires eventually go out. So, I mean, technically, I guess you don't need us if you don't care about buildings standing or people staying alive.
Okay.
Well, that pretty much describes Greg, actually. He doesn't care if people stay alive or if buildings stay standing. He's definitely a communist, so that's Greg's it. But that explains why he's drinking box wine, too. So.
Well,
really
yeah,
bad box wine, too. Franzi.
It's even worse.
Is that like a cross between French and Italian wine or something?
I don't know, but I love their motto. I think it's trademarked as the world's most popular wine. So it's like, I guess I can't disprove that.
It's probably made in Mississippi.
Oh, I'm sure.
What is it, like $5 a box?
I remember back in college that we would gauge how much money we had in our pockets by how many a case of Stroh's would cost, and it was usually like $5 for a case of Stroh's back in the old days.
That was
the 30 pack too, so it wasn't even just 24 cans. You got 30. So anyway, my biggest question actually is, what does the washdown mean? Is that what happens to you guys after you get back from a fire, or what is that?
It's actually something that happens at the fire. It's whenever we wet the whole structure down to make sure that there's no hot spots or embers. So that's just, we call it the washdown. So
with the podcast, before you start, you guys literally spray each other with hoses?
It's been known to happen from time to time.
As long as
Matt, you
water.
trying to make this homoerotic or something?
That wasn't actually my plan,
contest?
Greg, but it's good that you finally went there.
I have a question to ask. The song, the roof is on fire. As a fireman, do you find that song offensive? Like it's bad advice. Like letting the motherfucker burn.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna let you take this one.
What, the Bloodhound Gang? Who doesn't like the Bloodhound Gang? Come on. Oh, it's not offensive at all. I mean, I sing it, especially on cold winter days. You go to that fire; it's warmer in the fire than it is outside.
Do you actually, when they're actually putting out the fires, you're singing that song, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely.
You would not let the motherfucker burn.
No, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's somebody's home, somebody's stuff in there. You got to take care of your neighbor.
Yeah.
So just to get into a slightly serious area, so what causes a person to actually want to become a firefighter? I mean, it's got to be something
that one's pretty simple. You're not right in the head.
It's
There's a lot of night right in the head people who don't go to put out fires and save people. Some other people who are not right in the head go out and they murder people. So
and we're on the other side of that spectrum. We're on the
well,
the chaotic good.
Just, you want to help people, and that job. Whenever you're working and you're going to fires, you're going to car wrecks, and you're doing all that stuff. I mean, it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. And then there are other people that come into it because, especially former military guys, they're looking for that unit and like family atmosphere again, that real close-knit community. And that's what we have with the fire service, is because, I mean, we spend 24 hours a day together at the station. So you can't help but get close with people and get on people's nerves, and you fight and argue just like, your brother or your sister.
So you're there 24 hours a day. I mean, it can't be 7 days a week because you would all
No,
be
we're
divorced.
most of us get divorced at some point.
Okay. That's
Anyway,
like a rite of
but
passage.
yeah, kind of.
It's just standard operating procedure.
It's your turn, son.
Yeah. Oh, you've got 6 years on the job? Go ahead. You're looking for wife number 2 now. So, no, it's 24 on, 48 off is the most common schedule. There are some other places around the country that do it a little bit different. 24 on, 24 off, and then do that for a couple days, and then they are off for like 4 days or whatever. So
yeah, there's a lot of departments going to the 48-96.
Yeah.
So you're on shift for 48 hours and you're off for 4 days.
Is that basically for like
firefighters though, just because the chicks? Is that a big part where somebody?
They're not rescuing
chicks
chickens.
like firefighters.
They're not
Like
rescuing
firefighters.
chickens, Greg. You can get those at Popeyes.
Yeah, the
I'm
people
talking
that
about a euphemism for ladies.
Oh,
Chicks.
a euphemism. I've heard of those.
Yeah.
Typically the people who get into it for those kind of reasons don't last very long.
Yeah.
Because they get divorced.
It's not like ladder 49 when you carry a lady down a ladder on your shoulder and pick her up at the grocery stores. That's not typical.
Put out the calendars? Does your town put out the calendars with the shirtless firemen? Is that a thing? Have you guys ever modeled for these? That's a thing I
No.
hear.
Yeah,
No.
our department does not do that.
No.
So
Greg asks all the newsworthy questions.
I mean, they're piercing and poignant and need to know now. I love it, Greg. Keep them coming, buddy.
That's actually his slogan, is piercing and poignant.
Yes. Like my nipples.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
At a loss for words.
So I know that Chris, I think you came from Chicago, and Jeremy, you're from Louisiana.
Yep.
So what part of the world are you guys in at the moment?
We're in Western Missouri. We'll just say that.
Okay, that's
Yeah, we don't want to give too much, policies and
We have a social media policy with our department, and just in case we say something stupid,
because we are firemen.
yeah. So we don't say
so
what
it's not really a
department we
just
work
in
for.
case. It's like we know when it's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So
It's-
okay.
One of
So
us is
I
gonna-
grew up all over the Midwest.
Yeah.
My dad got transferred, getting promotions and jobs and stuff like that. So Chicago is one of the many places I've lived in my life. But
So you both wound up in Western Missouri at I believe in one of the earlier episodes, Chris, I think you're no longer a firefighter. Is that correct?
no, I'm still a firefighter.
Oh, you still are. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you had like stopped, or maybe I just misheard.
No, I'm a paramedic also.
Got
So
it.
that might have been one of those episodes.
Yeah, he did stop being a paramedic for a little while.
Yeah.
And then re-upped it. So he's back working as a fire medic again. So
whenever you're working one of these 24-hour shifts, what's the longest time you've actually spent on an actual job that you've had to put out? Has it been the full 24 hours? Have you gone into like?
No, so we get something like that. They do a really good job of rotating us out and rotating other companies in. That way, everybody can get some rest. You get food, you can rehab and all that, and take shower. But
yeah, I think the longest that I've ever been on a
8
scene,
to 10 hours.
Yeah, it was about 10 hours at a big grass fire. So
building fire for me.
Yeah, building fire is a couple hours. Usually doesn't take that long.
This is a big one.
Oh, are you talking about? Well, I was down in the West Bottoms.
Yeah, I was off that weekend. Maybe it was the grass fire then.
Yeah, I was down in the West Bottoms from about 8 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock the next morning. So about 12 hours.
Yeah.
And for those of you keeping track out there, the West Bottoms has nothing to do with Western Missouri.
No, it's just an area of the city.
It's just, it's an area of the city. So it was
a city that's not in Western Missouri.
Correct.
Trying to keep them anonymous as much as possible. Don't let the hints they give you make you think you figure out where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg, I'm
much
sure would talk about West Bottoms in a different way. So, so do you get training as paramedics also whenever you're firemen, or how's that?
So
work?
every firefighter for pretty much every department anymore is an EMT. So there's different levels of EMT. It's emergency medical technician. You have a basic level, intermediate, and then paramedic level. So like Jeremy, we're all EMTBs to start out. So we're all basic level care, and then our department will send you to paramedic school if you choose to.
So basic level care is you just go up and just kind of stroke the victim's hair, and that's pretty much it, or?
Yeah, you're a hand holder.
Yeah.
Waiting for the medic to get there.
Oh, poor you. Just hold on.
I am an expert Band-Aid applicator. So you just hold yourself there.
He does it with one hand.
Yep.
So how much training do you guys have to do just to get to that level of being fireman / EMT? I mean, is it like school for 6 months or a year or something to learn all this stuff?
It depends on where you go. So
for us to go through our academy and then on the job training and everything, whenever we came through, and they seem to change it from year to year, but our academy is 16 weeks, and then you have 3 months of on the job training. So it can take, that long, and then you become technically manpower. So,
and then you pretty much train your whole career. You're always learning something, a new way to do something. There's a lot of places that do research and studies, and they kind of, different techniques with nozzles or how to tear up a room or how a fire's going to develop that you kind of learn. And then you get your technical stuff. You got water rescue, high angle, trench,
construction methods.
Yeah. Water,
ventilation. I mean, there's
so much
no
to
end
it.
of information that you need to know, but
you're never going to know.
You're never going
to
know it all.
So you're basically being told like how far over the end of the nozzle you put your thumb to make the water come out faster.
Something like that, yeah.
yeah. That's totally it.
I knew that there was a method like that.
Yeah. My favorite is just run to the front door, throw the hose inside, run back out, and go, "Don't let the invisible fire burn my friend."
I turn the nozzle on, throw it in the house, and see what happens.
Well, yeah. You turn it on? What?
Have you guys ever been injured by one of those hoses when somebody turned it on too soon?
No, but I saw a guy just about get taken off of his feet one time because the driver turned it on, didn't realize that it was a shorter section of hose than he thought. So it had a lot of pressure at the end. And the guy holding it at the end, luckily, was 6'4" and 280 pounds of solid muscle. And he was able to hold on to it, but he wasn't holding on to it for long. But it was quite comical because when we got back to the station, I never saw that guy's face be so red and yell so much. It was an MF this and MF that all the way up and down, following him around the station. It was hilarious.
So when you say MF, you're saying male, female. That's what the MF stands for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
You are allowed to speak your mind with us.
Okay.
You guys can say
Okay.
motherfucker on our show, just so you know. You
Okay.
can say anything you
Well,
want.
there you go.
It's like whatever kind of fucker you need, you can that can be expressed.
See?
Well, yeah.
Told you it was a technical term.
Yeah.
That's right. You
We
can
do the
bring
same
up
thing.
Dogs, lemurs, whatever you need to. It's all good.
We do the same thing, but I don't like to assume.
You do
So,
things with lemurs?
Lemurs?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not touching this one. I know where I can take it. I'm not doing that.
So what we've learned today is that all firemen are going to get divorced. They say something stupid on the air eventually, and they have a kink for lemurs, apparently. It's a fireman thing. We're
Hey,
learning.
What happens in Madagascar stays in
That's right.
Madagascar.
We like to move it. I know that much.
The secret life of firemen today on our episode.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
when
I
did
think
you
it's
guys
really
decide?
just
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, is it a problem where you guys are going to put out a fire, you reach the nearest fire hydrant, and there's a goddamn dog pissing on it, like in all the old cartoons? That must get in the way.
No, usually they're
No, it's cars.
cars.
Usually people
Cars.
park right in front of them.
Do
Yeah.
you get like satisfaction out of breaking their windows to take the hose through the?
Still haven't got to do that. I
Yeah.
want to so bad.
17 years and haven't been able to do that.
Oh,
So
It's on my
yeah,
bucket list.
Yeah. Whenever it happens, though, believe me, I'll send you an email with a picture.
I would love to see that guy try to sue the city for that and be like, you were fucking parked in front of a fire hydrant. Asshole.
Yeah, they don't take kindly to that. I
Yeah.
was at a fire one time and we had our big yellow hose that feeds from the hydrant to the back of the pumper. And it was across the street, and these people ran right through where the cops were trying to stop, ran and basically parked on top of the hose, and then stopped for some reason. Luckily, the hose didn't rupture. Man, you'd have thought somebody shot at us because that cop was over there so fast, yanking them out of the car. You're not going anywhere. This car's not moving. I mean, they took care of us that night.
so is there a major rivalry between police officers and firemen? Is that legitimate?
It's like silver. Yeah, I can't say words.
I think
Let's do animal noises if you need to. You can do a
Yeah.
lot of grunting.
Oh.
It's point across.
his vocabulary pretty much begins and ends with "I am Groot." So, I think it's more of like a brotherly or sisterly competition more than anything
Sibling.
else.
Sibling. That's the word I couldn't say. Sibling. God damn it. Stupid words.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's more of that, because we're out there together most of the time, and you got to look out for each other. Because if
Are
they
they
need
jealous
help,
that you get? Are the cops jealous that you guys get more ladies?
I don't know that that's necessarily the truth, but no, I've never
I think
run
women
into
like
that.
firemen. Women dig firemen. I don't know. Ever since I was a kid, it just seems like something like they swoon over you guys.
How do
guys
you
are
know
rock
this,
stars.
Greg? Have you like done a survey or something? Have you talked?
I
to
talk
lots
to
of
women. I've known
about
some women in my
specifically
life.
about firemen.
It comes up. I don't talk.
Really,
I
it
don't
just
question
comes
them.
up in conversation
Yeah,
somehow.
they'll be like, well, I
It's
found
in
a
the
guy on
fine wine
Tinder. I
Right.
found a guy on Tinder, and yeah, he's not that great, but he's a fireman, and that adds like 10 points to his profile.
I think that's
thinking
true.
I
I
said you found the guy on Tinder, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you were dating again.
I might. The fireman would definitely add some points if I was.
have to give him a t-shirt.
Right.
We'll have to give him a t-shirt, help him out a little bit.
Yeah.
So were you guys ever? Going back to the calendar idea. So has that ever been brought up at your station that somebody would do a calendar for like fundraising purposes?
Oh,
There.
we've joked about it, but I mean, let's be honest. The guys that you see on the calendar, there aren't too many of those guys walking around. Most of us just look like normal dudes. We wouldn't sell too many calendars.
Well, maybe that'd be the better calendar then, because you could sell it to normal people.
The dad bod calendar.
Yeah.
Right.
I could be on the cover of that one.
Apparently, that's a thing these days. They're like really after the dad bods, and
Yeah. I'll just keep my mouth shut about that.
Jeremy hates fat people.
I don't
I'm waiting
hate
for-
fat people.
I'm waiting for the granddad bod to come back because that's what I got.
Well, I want to go back to what Chris has brought up because he said that Jeremy hates fat people. Now,
With a passion.
With a passion.
Yeah.
No, I do not hate fat people. I just hate that my friends are fat and they don't take care of themselves. And if they get hurt in a fire that we're in together, I'm going to have to drag their fat ass out. So really, I'm just thinking about myself.
That would involve Jeremy doing work.
Exactly.
You don't want to
I gotta-
throw your back.
I got a bad knee and a bad shoulder and a bad neck. I don't need to add bad back to it.
Chris,
Oh,
do
you
you
got-
have an issue with fat people?
No, I love fat people.
Okay,
I'm happy.
So,
Fat
so
people
you
are
would
happy.
basically you would push Jeremy out of the way and save a fat person because you love them more than he
Well,
does.
I don't have to push Jim out of the way because he's not in there working. He's outside getting a drink of water because he's dehydrated, while the rest of us are doing work.
He's a loafer.
He is.
Yep.
He's a gold bricker.
The gray man. Just nobody knows my name, fly under the radar. Oh yeah, I was in there working so hard.
His gear still looks brand new. It's weird.
Yep.
What are the different classifications of people within at a fire? Like there's a guy who runs the hose, and there's a guy who's driving the engine. Does everybody switch off on the jobs, or how does that work?
No, we have assigned. So you have the captain who is in charge of the company with our department, and then you have the driver, and they drive the apparatus, and then 2 firefighters, or if they're on like a specialty rescue rig or hazmat rig, it's a little bit different. But pretty much the guys on the pumper, they're the ones who take the hose in and put the fire out. The guys on the truck, which is what I do, we cut holes in the roof to let the smoke and the heat out, and then we will tear out walls. We do searches to pull people out. So it's just there's a division of labor there. So and a little bit of a rivalry, between pumper guys and truck guys. So
Pumper guys do all the work.
pumper guy.
Think about it. We run all the EMS calls.
Yeah.
We go to the
You know what?
store. We do
We
the cooking. We do the
appreciate that.
cleaning while the truck lays there and sleeps.
We appreciate that because when we're out there, getting our
Doing your lift
workout
assist.
on and doing our lift assist because, we're able to lift people. That's what we do, bro.
Yeah, it's a
And
good
we
thing they got a
appreciate
celery
you.
made back at the house taking care of the cleaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need somebody to do the cooking and
Not
cleaning.
only do we do the cooking on the pumper, we also do the dishes.
That's because
You're not supposed to do
working
that.
with the
It's-
hose.
You're not supposed to do the dishes.
Yeah,
You cook, you
it's-
don't clean.
Well,
And the
hey,
truck's like, oh man, I got to take another nap.
well, it's because we get calls and we're gone, doing important
Dude,
stuff.
trucks don't get calls. I've slept through more calls than a truck runs in a year.
You're really going to admit that? That you
It
slept
happens.
through a bunch of calls?
It happens. I had to get woke up. It's because we run so many calls, you're exhausted,
Uh-huh.
and you don't hear the bells.
Okay.
Wait, but how do
Somebody-
you get there without the truck? I mean, wouldn't the truck go with you on these calls?
No, so
no.
it depends on what the call is.
Oh, is this like a lot of
he-
cats up a tree type of thing?
Yeah, we have run those,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I
So
ran
does
an
it
iguana
actually
up a tree.
happen? That's not a stereotype.
Oh, no, it
No, it
actually
happens.
happened. I ran an iguana up a tree one time.
That's pretty fast too.
Yeah. And it was
we
in
just kind
this
of walk away.
huge pine tree. We're like, it put some food out for it. It'll come down eventually because it can't even see it. So yeah, typically, we don't really climb trees to get cats out of them because if you climb up after them, they just go to the highest branch anyway. So just set some food out. It'll come down.
Yeah.
It's all
You ever
good.
seen a skeleton in a tree? Yeah, no, I heard it too.
Yeah.
You ever seen a
That's
cat
funny.
skeleton in a tree though?
That's
So I
when you
gotta
bring out
say
the
how
hose to get the
important-
cat down.
How important the
It'll-
pumpers are. What Chris said is my dad was a dentist in a small town in upstate New York. He was headhunted by all the volunteer fire department guys. They'd bug him every week. And you know why? It's not like they wanted dental advice. My dad was also the best cook you've ever met. Like he was Italian. He could make the best bolognese sauce you ever tasted. So they'd always be like, Pat, you got to become a fireman. You're 45 and you have kids because they just want him to be the guy cooking all the time.
Absolutely.
When there's no calls.
I'll tell you what, some of the best cooks you'll ever meet are firefighters. I've eaten some of the best meals I've ever had on this job. And
Well, and it's hard too because you got to make something that tastes just as good cold
yeah,
as it does warm. Because 9 times out of 10, we're not eating hot food.
Oh, are you eating usually at the job, or are you eating in the?
No,
we
you
get
just-
interrupted and have to leave and then come back. By the time you're back, food's cold.
Oh,
So
I get it.
yeah,
You have to do like lots of small bites.
yeah,
Yeah.
or take it with you,
Gazpacho.
which I've done.
Gazpacho.
Oh,
No, they just eat kibble.
pretty much.
They have little bowls of kibble, Greg, and
Bologna sandwiches.
And we do a lot of sandwiches, the muffaletta sandwiches. We do that a lot. Those are good and they're cheap. And
yeah.
what's your favorite sandwich,
They're good
Chris?
cold.
honestly, I go with the muffaletta. That's one of my favorites.
Muffaletta.
Yeah.
Isn't that a headdress for a Muslim mufti? No, I'm confused.
No,
Yeah.
it's a it's a
That's
sandwich.
culturally insensitive.
Well, I was like, why is he eating cloth? I didn't know.
Yeah,
What is whatever you said?
muffaletta sandwich. So basically, you
That's
take
a muffaletta sandwich.
you take a whole loaf of. Usually, we use Italian bread.
That
And
is
you
a
cut-
giant loaf you were carrying just then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
So
it was
you
like
cut it-
shoulder length. He was just like,
Well, that's about how big the loaf is.
Yeah, you're feeding a lot of guys
Yeah,
on
you're
this.
feeding, anywhere from 4 to 12 guys.
oh, I
So-
thought you were just talking about the sandwich that Chris was eating.
Oh, well, yeah,
That
that's
too.
one helping for him.
I can do that.
You cut it in half, and then you fill it with all kinds of meat and cheese and tomatoes, and then you can make a like homemade scratch sauce that you coat the top of the bread in, and then you throw it in the oven for like 5 minutes, just enough to kind of brown it and crisp it.
Wait, what
Put
kind
it
of sauce
together.
is this though? So
Basically, the closest thing would be like Italian dressing.
oh, okay.
So
A lot of guys make their own, or they do like an olive paste,
yeah,
tight dressing, and
Like,
it's
like pesto or something like that.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
But
it's
it's
a
all
little
homemade.
bit- like the homemade is a lot thicker than pesto.
Yeah.
So
But it's delicious.
Isn't it like a tapenade kind of? Isn't that on a muffaletta? Some kind of tapenade. It's like chopped up
Mm.
olives and shit. No. Okay.
well, yeah, that's kind of the paste, like
Okay.
sauce type thing. So
You could think of it like a tapenade a little bit.
yeah,
yeah.
you can do whatever. So, but yeah, typically with our department, we have certain traditions as far as food goes. We have some stations have either Pizza Friday or Fried Chicken Fridays, and then Saturday is all Hispanic food. So tacos, burritos, that kind of stuff. And then Sundays is Italian food. So somebody will do a pot of sauce and meatballs or chicken spadini or, whatever.
And Monday
I
is
should become a
Muffaletta Monday.
fireman.
Yeah.
Muffaletta
Mondays
Monday.
Mondays is like, well, what did we eat on Friday? Okay, that's a leftover day.
Am I too old to become a fireman? Now I think I want to be one.
Well, for our department, yes, our cutoff is 31.
Oh.
30.
Is it
I
30?
could be
30.
a captain though.
Yeah.
Can a captain be an old guy? Because I knew a fire chief captain who was like basically 50.
It's a cutoff to
something.
become a fireman, Greg, not to stay a
Yeah.
fireman.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
They
no.
don't- it's not like Logan's Run where they kill you when you turn 31.
They make you get divorced. Then
It's
they
not-
kill
no,
you.
you
Yeah.
come in when you're 30, you leave when you're 31. Done.
Yep, you get 1 year. That's it. Oh, he had a good run.
That's right. They all start at 5 years old.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I'd be retired by now.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, no. So it's just we have different little traditions and stuff like that. That
Do you guys have superstitions for yourselves on the job? Either of you?
yes.
Ah,
you do.
what you
You
got,
don't.
Chris?
You don't say the Q word.
The Q
Oh
word?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You don't say quiet.
Quiet.
Quiet. Why?
Yeah, like it's been a quiet day.
Oh,
then you-
got it.
Inevitably.
Then things get busy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna run the rest of the night. You don't say you're bored. I actually carry a St. Michael prayer in my pocket, in my coat. I got that from a guy when I first came on. He gave it to us.
Is he the patron saint of water?
No, so Saint Foyne is actually the saint of firefighters.
Oh.
And then Saint Michael, he's just a protector. I mean, I'm not Catholic, but he was.
Take all the help you can get.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So I grew up in the Episcopal Church, which is like Catholic rite. So you still have the saints, but you don't pray to them or marry or anything like that, like you do in the Catholic religion. But it's just a superstition that I have, and like I've still got a rosary in my truck that a friend gave me years ago. So I've never used it, but I'm not because I'm not Catholic. But it's just something I keep.
I had Catholic relatives who'd actually offer food to the saint statues. They'd have a plate of food every time you went over there. And I'd be like, that saint's not going to eat that. So I'd like pick at it. I would eat the saint's food because it's just going to go bad.
It's the off-gassing of the food that reaches the saint. It's the aroma and the smell.
Oh, you're reaching there, Chris.
No, it kind of goes back to the old Greek mythology and even the Vikings and the Nordic mythology. They used to leave food and stuff, and that's how it reached the gods.
Okay.
But back then they didn't really bathe that well, so they would also get that odor, the gods.
Yeah.
You came near the food, so it would be kind of defeating the purpose by having the food there. You'd have your armpit odor reaching the heavens.
I know a woman who was, her family was Hindu, and at a wedding, there was a statue of Ganesha, the elephant-looking god.
Mm-hmm.
And there actually were peanuts offered for him, which I thought that was a stereotype that elephants like peanuts, but I guess they'd actually leave peanuts for Ganesh. And then my friend, her aunt, just started eating the peanuts really nonchalantly, and everyone was very shocked.
Did she suddenly look like an elephant after she ate them?
No, she didn't turn into an elephant. It wasn't magic peanuts, but it's like, that's for Ganesh. You can't eat Ganesh's peanuts. You're gonna have a curse on you or something. Or bad luck.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna get very mad and punch you in the face.
So, Jeremy, do you have any superstitions of your own, or?
Well, the only one for me is I talk to my wife every night, before I go to bed at the station, and that's the one thing is I don't say that it's been quiet or slow. And she used to ask me all the time, have you been busy today? And it never failed. If I said no, then we're up all night. So, yeah. I'm like, yeah, don't even ask that. I'll tell you tomorrow how busy we were today.
Yeah. I say, well, it's been a good day.
Yeah.
Whether I'm busy or not. Back when you're growing up and you're waiting for a bus, and if you wanted the bus to come, that's when you'd light a cigarette.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How often are there fires that you guys have to deal with? How often does this happen? Like if you averaged it out,
how often does what happen, Greg?
Fires. Well, you guys actually have to have the whole truck come out, to fight a fire. Is that like every day? Every week?
Well, we're in a large metropolitan area, so I'd say that there's probably at least one fire a day. So it just depends on which part of the city it's in. So
West Bottom's that big?
Yeah. Yep. It is that big.
It's a big bottom.
It is. I would almost go to say that it's fat.
It's a big fat.
Hey, man.
Once a week it averages.
Just remember, fat bottom girls make the world go round.
Well, that's true.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially if they're rocking.
I'd say once a day, there's a fire going on somewhere in the city. So now whether or not that's a big fire or a small fire or whatever, it just kind of depends. So that kind of thing is really hard to try to average out because it varies so much. Because you can go, 6 months without getting one, and then 6 months and a day you'll have 3 in the same day. So, there's not a schedule.
So you've actually had dry stretches for 6 months.
Oh yeah. Wow. Almost a year one time. It just depends on what part of the city you work in.
Or wet stretches, I guess they're called.
Not if they're not working, Greg. They wouldn't be wet.
Yeah. Nope. It'd
No,
be,
it's
Unless they're
wet
hosing
because
each other down before
fires
they go out.
happen when it's dry. So if it's a nice wet stretch where there were no fires.
Are you talking about because of rain?
Yes,
Oh,
Which
got
is-
it.
which is a factor.
I had
If
to
it's
get the
fires-
right mentality with you for that. So I think this is a good
Drink
moment
some wine.
to.
you need some of that fine boxed wine, Matt.
You know, it's weird because normally Greg drinks Holocaust whiskey. So for some reason today he's drinking boxed wine, and I've never seen him drink wine before. So are you
'Cause
like
I'm
that
trying to be
broke,
better.
Greg? Are you like so broke?
No, this is just as expensive. I'm just, bourbon hits you too fast. I'm trying to slow down.
You
a
don't
little.
drink bourbon though. It's not bourbon.
Whatever.
Hey, you sip it. You sip it.
No,
Nip.
no, it's
Take
not,
a
no,
nip.
it's not whatever he's sipping. It's what he buys is not bourbon.
It's
That's my
blended
point.
whiskey.
Oh,
All
it's
I'm saying
booze.
is it's 80 proof. That's what matters. It's 80 fucking proof. Good whiskey, fake whiskey, it's strong. And I've been getting a little too blotto lately, so I'm like, I gotta slow down a little.
Well,
Drink
that's
some wine.
so you go for wine. So you want to go being a wino now? Is that
Yeah,
what's your
today's-
goal?
Today's client is bourbon and wine. Which is better for the drunk? Just kidding.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that bourbon hangover compared to a wine hangover any day of the week.
That is true.
Yeah, but you would probably drink actual bourbon. He does not drink actual bourbon. That is my issue.
It's the worst
He
hangover.
calls it bourbon, but it's not bourbon that he's
The
drinking.
store calls it bourbon. It's just a euphemism.
They should not be calling it bourbon. That's basically trash can whiskey is what you drink. Anyway,
Okay.
so then we should go into our client today because I think our two guests can give a good perspective on this. So our client for today is road rage and bike path bitterness, and I know that nearly everybody has issues. Not everybody, but many people driving down the road and there's somebody in their way or not going fast enough or they do some idiotic thing where they turn in front of you and that creates the desire to eject them from the earth. And I know that when I was younger I had like some serious road rage issues where I followed people. And
So I feel like I'm being targeted here.
wait, why would you be targeted, Chris? Do you have?
Oh,
something you need to do you have?
Oh, I
something
got
to share?
bad road rage. I have
yeah?
bad. Yeah,
What
I've
do you do?
never hit anybody or anything like that. I just yell and scream a lot in my car, and but I can't. There's the left lane is that's my biggest pet peeve.
Okay.
Don't camp in the left lane. It's the fast lane. It's the go lane. It's a passing lane. Get out of the left lane. Especially if I'm coming up behind you, or if somebody's coming up behind you, they're going faster. Get over. I shouldn't pass you on the right.
But you don't stalk them for 10 miles like Matt used to do. You'd actually
No.
follow them.
No.
He'd
Don't
go
do
to their
that.
homes
I did not go to their homes, Greg.
and it'd light their homes on fire.
It seems like you may need some counseling, sir.
No, I say that was a long time ago. I've since gotten very mellow about it, and I've gotten very zen regarding my upset. I mean, I will still choice words will come out of my mouth. I'll try that in English. Choice words will come out of my mouth on occasion when I'm on the road when somebody does something, but it'll be brief. And I won't hold any grudges. I'll just move on. But back in the day, yeah, I remember one guy. I flipped him off, and he started following me. I actually had guys chase me once because I was just like screaming in my car, and they followed me like off of an exit somewhere else. They pulled up beside of me, and then I took off. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with those guys. So yeah, some people. You learn that perhaps your actions toward them is not necessarily a good idea, considering you never know who is in another vehicle.
Yeah. You never know how crazy those people are that you're yelling at.
Right.
I had a guy do that to me. Had a guy follow me and then start yelling at me.
He followed you.
Yeah, because he didn't know what a turn signal meant, apparently. That's not my fault. So he pulled up, started screaming at me, asked me if I want to. This was in my early 20s. I was in mid-20s. And asked me if I want to fight. I'm like, all right. He starts getting out of his car, and all four windows of my car go down. And I was the little guy in the car.
Which means you had some normal sized people in your car.
Easy there, giant. Not everybody's 7 foot and 100 pounds. All right.
Are you only like 4'3", Chris? How tall are you?
Apparently.
Yeah, he's
It depends on how
5'6"
bad my
if
back
he's wearing
hurts.
his lifts.
It's 5'7". My back hurts a little bit taller. Or a little bit shorter. My back hurts. Sorry. When it feels good, I'm a little bit taller than 5'7".
But that was the day you were chauffeuring King Kong Bundy around,
Pretty much.
and Andre the Giant.
I think
Something
they
like
might be
that,
too-
yeah.
They might be too young for those references, Greg.
Oh, I
sorry.
remember.
Okay.
I'm old enough for that.
Okay, good. You guys look like you're still slightly young.
No, I'm 41,
Okay, yeah,
so
not too bad.
I watched the old wrestling every Saturday morning.
I remember Andre the Giant
Yep.
and him and his battles with Hulk Hogan and all that. Oh, yeah.
right. I think it was.
Yeah.
Well,
it
I'm
was
just
after
glad
I'd
when you turned
stopped watching.
31, they didn't kick you out of the fire department. I'm glad you made it
Well-
10 years past their deadline.
Yeah. They don't know yet. Well, it's because I got such a baby face, and they haven't realized that nobody's checked my birth certificate yet. So
Whew. Good
Yeah.
for you.
He did
Yeah.
start at 5 years old. But now the other half of our client is bike path bitterness, which is Greg doesn't drive. He's never learned how to drive, which baffles me as a human being in this country that a grown man, especially with the amount of gray on his head, doesn't know how to drive. But Greg, you've experienced things as a bicyclist that causes you to have deep-seated issues. So
Yeah, well, when somebody does something stupid, I'm on my bike. It's basically like, wow, I almost just died. Like I've had guys where just by the grace of God, if I was 1 foot ahead in my journey, that guy would have just hit me so hard I probably would have gone 3 blocks.
what would be
I
an
would have been
example of
dead.
something stupid someone would do if you're riding a bike? Because generally, bike riders shouldn't be anywhere near cars anyway.
Yeah, cars shouldn't be near bike riders. I agree.
No, the roads
Find
are
your
not
own
made
path.
for bicyclists, Greg. The,
Yeah.
the
They should
roads
be.
are made for cars
They
or
shouldn't.
stagecoaches, or one or the other.
I second that, Matt.
Or ATVs even.
Third.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You are the
Anything but
minority,
bicycles.
Greg.
Yeah.
So how do I travel around the bike? I just don't.
You learn
Get
how to
away
drive, you
sidewalks.
damn bastard.
Are you
That's
going to
how
buy
it
me a
works.
car? I can
No.
learn how to drive all I want. I'm not going to be able to afford a car.
The day when you say I can learn to drive all I want and you make that happen, I'll believe you.
And you'll buy me a car?
Yeah, I'll get you a little Matchbox.
Okay, cool.
Get you a little
So,
Matchbox car.
okay, here's an example. Once I was
You
at
can
this
put on your
intersection-
Holocaust whiskey.
I was at this intersection, Tucson, Arizona, and I was waiting for the light to turn green. The light turns
Was there a
green.
flatbed Ford?
I don't recall. And so I pull out, I start like pedaling. I'm like 3 feet into the street, and this car, everyone else has stopped. This car just drives through the red light at like 50, 60 miles an hour, basically a foot ahead of me. If I was like a little faster and got on my bike a little quicker and pedaled a little harder, I would have been right in his path. And
There's a
I
lot of
didn't
ifs
realize-
there, Greg. If you had done this, if you had done that.
Yeah. Either way, I almost died just by a foot. If I was just, it was fucking.
But-
And I was so shocked I didn't even think about it. So I was just like, I kept riding my bike, and I kind of looked over, and everyone in their cars was stopped at this intersection. They were just looking at me like, "Holy shit!" Like we almost just saw something very gnarly that would scar us for a
Are
while.
you sure they were having that look because of the potential accident or just your basic appearance?
That happens sometimes, but this was beyond that.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't just like,
No.
wow,
Are
that's
you,
normal.
are you one of the spandex wearing guys?
oh yeah. I like to, and I wear like a little like a tank top with net, so my nipples
Nice.
pop out.
Sweet.
You gotta put tape on it, that way they don't bleed.
Yeah, sometimes I do that. Yeah. No, I don't. I was going to work. I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt because it was Tucson. But it was like, I was like, holy shit! And that happened every week when I rode my bike in Portland. Every week something would happen. That guy would just like do something crazy, and I'm like, holy shit! I almost just got ran over. But thankfully, I wasn't a foot ahead or a foot behind or something.
You know how to avoid that though, and on the positive side, if you had been walking, you wouldn't have been anywhere close to it.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I had to get
if you
places.
yeah, well,
I
walking
could,
gets you
like,
places.
Yeah, but it takes like 2 to 3 hours.
as opposed to the hour and a half to ride his bike.
Yeah,
No, the bike is.
it's cool, man.
I swear to God, sometimes I was in Portland and I could get somewhere faster than you driving because you'd be stuck in traffic.
Maybe it's
Drive
time for you to
both
buy a
sides.
horse,
That's
Greg.
because in a car you have the traffic laws you obey. Where bicyclists, they just pick and choose when they want to obey it.
Exactly, because we can't kill anyone, so we like figure it's
No,
only
but you
minor
know,
for risk.
If you run a red light on your bicycle, and I've seen so many do this,
Oh,
you still got to stop at a red light or a stop
Oh, I
sign.
do.
And
I don't
Yeah,
stop at
but-
stop signs if I don't see anyone coming.
it's still illegal. That is illegal, and you deserve
I
a
know
ticket.
It's illegal. Illegal.
So I would get a ticket.
do you know how many bike accidents we've run with people getting smoked by cars because the bicyclist was doing something stupid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Greg.
it's
and that never happened
it's
to me.
all
They
the
are
time.
first responders. They have evidence.
That never
And
happened to me though, because I was.
You got to
smart.
think about what that does to the person driving the car. They're minding their own business, going down the road, and all of a sudden a
Yeah.
bicyclist runs a stop sign or a red light, and they smoke them and kill them, or seriously injure them.
Yeah.
That person that's driving that car is messed up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a sensible scofflaw, I gotta say. But
Oh, you are
I gotta say,
sensible. But
to
they
flip
felt
that-
they were too, Greg.
to flip that thinking on its head, though, I would just be dead. Like they don't think about, oh, I'm gonna break a law and run over this bicyclist who is obeying the law.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
No,
I was obeying
it
the
does.
law.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean,
obeying the law, but I wouldn't just be scarred. I would be a pancake on the road.
Exactly. So safety first. Right.
Wear a helmet. and learn how to jump off the bike. Roll. Yeah,
Stop
tuck and
riding a
roll.
bicycle
Yeah.
and sell
Get a
your
moped.
bike and walk.
I'll tell you what, you get one of those little 49cc mopeds. You don't need a license for those. I don't
Yeah.
think.
They
Yeah,
still
no,
sell
you don't.
mopeds?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mopeds
they
are still
look
a
like
thing?
little mini motorcycles. Yeah, they look like little mini motorcycles now. But most states have the law that if it's under 50 cc's, you don't need a license for it.
But they still have pedals that you can use if the engine.
Yeah, they
goes.
still make those.
Mhm.
Fascinating. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Do you guys get
Or
angry at
get a little
motorcycles?
Vespa.
Do you guys get angry at motorcycles?
Well,
How many accidents you have to deal with? Because it's pretty dangerous.
So-
Motorcycle.
Yeah, we both ride.
Yeah, we both have
So-
motorcycles.
and have for years. But yeah, I mean, typically, if somebody's doing something stupid, I hate that
Yeah, I
because
can't stand it.
they make the rest of us look bad. You know, if they're riding 90 miles an hour and whipping in and out of traffic, I mean, you're just asking for trouble.
That's dangerous for everybody,
Yeah,
not just the motorcycle, but even cars and
yeah,
Is
See,
the
I-
adage true? It's not if you're going to lay down the bike, it's when you're going to lay down the bike.
absolutely.
So everyone you know has like taken a dive on a motorcycle.
Oh yeah,
I did mine in my driveway.
yep.
I did. We were going riding that day, so my wife she was in the shower. So I went to the gas station to get gas. Forgot my wallet. So now I'm mad. Come back home, and instead of just pulling in the driveway, I just whipped around the street, did a quick little U-turn, and instead of hitting my back brake, I grabbed my front brake while I was leaned over and just drove it right into the ground. I was so mad. I was like, "I'm sorry. That's it. Put it away. I'm done." All I had was a couple little scratches on the underneath part, but you can't see them.
Do you
Yeah.
have
That's all
a
I
different type of road rage on a motorcycle than if you're in a car?
Oh, absolutely.
I do. Yep.
I really don't have. I have maybe a little bit of an issue whenever I'm driving my Jeep around, but on my bike, like, yeah, I have straight up motherfucked people, rode up beside them and tapped on their window, and yeah, I don't really do that anymore. But that was back in the day. I would get irate if somebody cut me off or,
Swerve over and
basically
almost hit you when they're not looking.
swerve over in my lane. Yeah.
You know, I've realized
so-
having this conversation that we are a nation of people who have tantrums.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
like
we
we
are.
have these tantrums on our own in our cars because we're just not getting our way.
Yep.
Things are not going the way we want. So we're
I have things to
Why they
do.
come
I have to
in?
go there. Yeah.
Get out of
So,
my way.
get out
Get
of
off
my
your
way.
phone.
The world
That's my
revolves-
biggest complaint right there.
Yeah, the world revolves around this guy. Don't you know that?
I can't stand people being on their phone while they're driving. That's my biggest pet peeve.
To be on their now, is it when they're holding their phone or if they're talking in their car? You can see that they're not.
No, so
but they're still on the phone.
no, when you're texting on your phone, because you're not looking at the road or what's going around, you're sitting there like this.
Yeah. That's
You
crazy.
guys don't
I
have
can't-
like anti-texting laws in your state?
Everybody has anti-texting laws. Nobody
Okay.
cares,
Yeah.
especially this younger generation, from what I've seen. Because my son is bad about it. I don't know how many times I've had both feet in his ass.
Laws,
That sounds messy.
laws only matter to people who follow them.
I have a sister who's 6 years older than me, and she does that. And she's listening right now. Hi, Maria. Yep, I am.
Yeah. Maria, put the phone down and drive your car,
Listen
please,
to the fireman, Maria.
Maria, just get an Uber.
or Uber,
Yeah.
or get on the back of your brother's bike and you can text while he rides, or you sit in the basket if you want.
She's going to be so mad at me, but I don't care. It's true. I'm mad at her. She's doing it. And she always denies it. She's like, no, I was just looking for a second. I was like, you were writing a full
Yeah.
text while you were driving
Yeah.
down the freeway.
Yeah.
Or the
You know, it's
highway.
not like the old days when texting first came out and you had to hit the buttons multiple times to get to the letter. You can sit here, you hold it down here and keep driving, and you knew exactly what you were saying and never look at it.
Yeah.
Because now you got the full keyboard, and people are on Facebook, or I've seen people watch videos.
Oh yeah.
I wish the guy watched a full movie on his screen in his car. I was like, you serious, dude?
Yeah.
By himself.
Hey.
It was down. It was like lower than his dashboard.
No, it was the screen in his dashboard.
Ah.
Because you can get those things where they'll play movies, or you can wire them a certain way. And he was legit watching the movie. I want to say he was watching Expendables.
I mean, in the days
Whatever.
before that, the distracted driving we had was like whenever we had to pull out the full maps to find out
Yes.
where we were going. We have those draped across our steering wheels, you know. And then of course the people who are like smoking joints in their car and with both hands and steering with their legs on the steering wheel. I never did that. I was never that
Do you
adept.
need two hands to smoke a joint? I
To
don't
light
smoke
it
joints.
sometimes, yes.
Oh, to light it. Okay.
Yeah. You know, because
That must have been a bowl. This is the one hitter.
I always heard that a lot of accidents happen just from fiddling with your radio knobs back when they're on the dashboard. You know, like a lot of people were distracted looking down. I always heard that was like a major danger, and that's why these cars came out where like you got the thing on your steering wheel to lower the volume and
Mhm.
press a few buttons.
Wasn't Major Danger your favorite comic book hero, Greg?
He fought King Kong Bundy in WrestleMania 2.
Said. So not a
Wow.
comic book superhero. Anyway, before we end off, we still got about 10 minutes. We really haven't addressed your podcast, guys. So
It's okay. It's been
and,
fun.
and it's been fun, and I appreciate you going along with this insanity. And luckily, our third co-host isn't here because actually he would have reined us in a little bit. He's a little more sane than Greg or I when he's not wearing gear from World War I aviation. But that's another
But
story.
he's not more sober than me.
No, sometimes he gets bad. But at the same time, we would have talked about your podcast a little bit more. So why don't you tell everybody what is the Washdown podcast?
So the Washdown podcast is basically, it's myself and Chris, and we have another friend, James, who isn't here with us tonight. And basically we address mental health in the fire service for all first responders, really, police and military. Just trying to raise awareness that, you know, there's stuff that we go through. These things are real, and there are resources out there. If you are going through something, that you can reach out, and just trying to remove that stigma, because in our line of work, there's a very alpha male mentality, and I got this, I'm the person who gives help. I don't need any help. And, you know, over time, running the calls that we run, the lack of sleep, bad diet, not exercising like we should, all of those things kind of add up. And which is why we end up getting divorced, having alcohol problems, having drug problems, and all that stuff. That's why we started the podcast, because I've had my struggles, Chris has had his, James has had his, and we just want to raise awareness. And we're talking to other people that have had those same issues, because unfortunately, it's not uncommon. It's more the norm than an outlier. So if we can raise awareness, keep people, you know, keep at least one person from going down the path that we went down, we call that a win. So that's the whole point of the podcast.
So you basically just go through the
you guys
stories
have-
of the guests that you have and what they've gone through and what they've done to I guess, address any mental issues or problems that they've come across? Is that essentially the nature of your podcast?
Yeah, pretty much dealing with, PTSD. And we do a little bit of education on most of the episodes of what those things actually are and what they're not.
Do you ever do like dramatic reenactments where you show? You like?
Yeah, we don't have the.
We don't have the
budget for that yet.
Yeah, we don't have the budget for that yet.
Well, you could do it with like little
coming.
figurines or something, right? Just
We
like have
totally-
like here's Chris.
I still got micro machines.
You get like a little Ken doll to represent Chris, and like the house that's burning down. And you can actually light it on fire in front of you, and then you could have him walk over to it, and then like he doesn't save the cat in time, and then he leaves, and his head is in his hands, and he's crying because he wasn't able to do that. And then you have like another little figurine of like a psychiatrist or something, like, Chris, I can help you. And you go, I don't like your personality. Leave me the fuck alone, you bastard. And then you go,
I had that conversation.
and
If
somebody
you
else,
guys want to do a real reenactment, I will shave my beard and I could play Chris. I'll play Chris.
It would be like
Man, that was kind of mean.
Yeah. Hey, man, dude, you guys were separated at birth, I think.
You're the son I never had.
the difference, Greg, is he understands technology, because if you notice, he's using an actual microphone and headphones, whereas you still aren't sure what you have is a laptop or a tablet.
I wish I had the money to buy a microphone, Matt. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm a pauper.
If you bought a microphone, you wouldn't know what to do with it, though.
I would. I'd figure it out. I actually bought
Hey,
a
man.
microphone, and somebody stole it off my stoop. So I did it.
Is that what you call your basket of your bike?
Stupid.
Yes.
Man, you
Should
got to
address-
get on your bicycle, pedal over to Guitar Center. They got a whole assortment of microphones. They're right there for the taking.
Yeah, but he has
I'll
nothing
take out
to
a loan.
connect it to. See, you don't know the full story here.
Well, if he's got a
He doesn't even have Wi-Fi in his apartment
That's
what?
not my fault.
because he doesn't know what Wi-Fi really is.
No, my
This is what we're-
apartment isn't hooked up to Wi-Fi. I called the company and they said, you don't have Wi-Fi in your apartment. You can't get it.
You didn't know who to call, though. You called the wrong people. It's a whole issue.
Whatever, George Jetson, motherfucker. Oh, I'm so great. I have a hover jet in my garage. How come you don't get it? Why don't you have a jetpack?
So you got the Jetsons and Flintstones working together. I remember that crossover.
Well, those jetpacks are real now. Have you guys seen those videos?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Those are
Looks
they're
like a
being
lot of
used in
fun.
the where they're being used by the military right now. It's where they're actually like Iron Man type suits.
Well, how
You
about
guys
the-
could use those. You
how about
guys
the
could have the
dude-
hose guy hover up a jetpack up over the buildings.
No, this is without a hose.
No,
This is with an actual
I'm saying
jetpack
they could use
with
it.
like jets at the
They
end of their
could use it.
hands.
Are you listening to me? They could use it in their work. They could have jetpacks.
Oh, they could,
And
yeah.
just safely hover way over the building, get all
Yeah.
the fire and the water on the roof.
Right, or the fires could explode the fuel that they're hovering over them with, and then they would be like
That could
like
happen.
fireworks in the sky. Sure, they
Yeah.
could do that. I think they would need a little more protection if they were using those over a fire, Greg. But they could go up to
Yeah.
a window and rescue like a baby or something, or a cat, or somebody's grandmother.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot quicker than setting up the aerial. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just throw your jetpack on, zip up there, grab some people off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
but-
company that makes them is actually called Gravity or something like that. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah. I did hear, I heard a story about, I guess there was a guy out in California in LA that was using a jetpack and like flying around the airport or something. He did it
I
like
did
2
hear
or
that
3
one.
times.
He got
Yeah.
in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is airspace you should not go into because they will shoot you down.
Of course, it's LA and California. And it's
yeah.
the land of laws, kind of like Illinois.
At your
Yeah.
fire department,
You say the
You
land
guys
of
have,
logs?
Laws.
Oh,
A lot of law. LAW.
at your fire department, guys, do you have affordable access to healthcare, mental health care specifically? And are you guys taken care of? Or?
yeah, it's
So
called
our-
Holocaust whiskey.
Yeah.
We have really good insurance. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Some of the best I've ever had, and it covers a lot of therapy sessions and stuff like that. We have
a program.
our union has a
program to get us in, and there's actually in our region there's a program that we're not really attached to, but they take our insurance that's designed specifically for first responders and military. So you go into inpatient treatment with them, and you're just with a bunch of other firemen, cops, and former military or active military people. So I mean, we have access to it, but like I said, there's a stigma to it of, oh, you know, this guy can't handle it or whatever. So that kind of needs to be changed.
So but that has to happen kind of from within, right?
Yeah, it's got to be organic. That's not something that you can mandate, you know, from the top down. It's got to be a bottom up thing.
Yeah, and it's
you have to
starting
use
to.
the right language. You need to do something like "Stop Being a Dick, Bob" program.
Well, you know, it's different things
nice.
work for different people to get them on board. You know, you talk about some guys, if you go at them from the angle of being fit for duty, you know,
Right.
Hey, you know what, you take care of your body, you do this, you do that. Okay, well, now you got to take care of your mind. Oh yeah, dude, I totally get that. And some people, you know, they're just going to hold out until it slaps them in the face, which I was that guy. So,
But there's definitely been a change. You can see it from the younger generation up.
yeah.
It's not as taboo as it used to be, but it's still.
That's because the younger generation are weenies.
I'm
not going to deny that. At the station I'm at now, we have a room that is the millennial cry room. So
I did not mean to feed into the alphaness of the room.
Yeah.
I was joking.
So here's the thing. And it's a weird, you know, dichotomy of, hey, suck it up and get it done.
Right.
You know, whatever. But then also, okay, if you're having a problem, you need to deal with that problem, because it's a line that we have to walk. You know, whenever we're on a scene of an accident or something like that, we can't fall apart. Everybody is looking at us to be calm and get stuff done. Now, whenever you get back to the station, absolutely take what time you need, process. If you want to fall apart, but you got to bring yourself back together, because the emergencies don't stop. We're going to go again, probably fairly quickly. So you have to be able to turn that switch on and off.
So it's basically like a
Have
room
you
where you
known
can
guys
flick
who
the switch
like
on
novice
and off.
firemen that crapped out basically?
What was that, Greg?
Do what?
Have you guys, I imagine, known some novice firemen who crapped out basically? They couldn't handle it. After the first few fires, they were like, they just couldn't get their shit together. Does that ever happen?
So I wouldn't
Stress.
I wouldn't put it that way. I'd say more they realized the job wasn't for them because of the things you see, you smell.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. A lot of guys hang on anyway, even if they're not really, you know, built for the job or don't know how to take care of themselves. But every now and then, you know, you'll have somebody that will do the job for a year or whatever, and then decide, yeah, this is not what I want to do. And it's actually becoming more common with the younger generation, where they'll stay with a department for 2, 3, 4 years, and then they're like, okay, I've had enough. And then they'll go do something else, because the mentality, it's not so much a calling for them, and they don't look at it as a career. They just look at it as a job I'm going to do right now.
Yeah, and I would think like a job like yours would need to be a calling, because there's so much intricacy involved with other human beings that you're doing this for. You know, I mean, your whole job is basically about saving people's property and saving people's lives.
Yeah.
So you have to have the mentality of wanting to save things, as opposed to, I think it could be cool to be a fireman for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I would never have chosen your job, but you've got too much. I get grossed out by snot, so let alone all the other fluids you guys deal with. Be like, man, and let alone the dead bodies and the crispy smells and stuff from those. That's just a whole nother avenue which I didn't want to get into. So
yeah,
not for me. But that's why I appreciate guys like you. I'm like, yeah, those guys, they deserve to be there because they want to be there. They can do it. Appreciate them, and I'll you know, I have a karaoke business, so I'll be there for when you want to sing. So it's a lot easier.
Sweet.
I'll deal with drunks, and you deal with them after they leave the bar. So
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I couldn't be a fireman just because I'm too cowardly.
yeah, well, there you go.
I'm
That's
not
part.
running to that
My
building.
cowardice was clothed in all of those other words I used.
Yeah.
Hey, don't think that people aren't scared whenever they go into burning buildings, because if you're not, you are crazy as hell.
Yeah.
And
Well,
those
that's
guys
what
become
makes
captains.
a hero.
Yeah.
You just gotta overcome that fear and control it, which is it's learned.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You learn how to do it and how to deal with it through experience.
Yeah.
All the guys in front of you and who are there to teach you, and pretty soon you're in that role. And it's weird being in that role.
So before we end off, what would be the one thing that the general public needs to know that they don't know? That you go, damn it, why is it these morons don't have this information? What would be the thing you want to pass on to the rest of us that we would need to know about your profession?
If you see an emergency vehicle coming, pull to the right.
How close do they have to be before
Just
you
pull to the right. Just pull
So
to
if
the
they're
right.
like a mile away,
Pull to the right.
pull over.
Just pull over.
No fucking way. I'm not doing it.
No,
You're a
I mean,
mile away. I am waiting to the last minute. I will pull over. I always pull over, but
But
it's
I'm
like
good and
there's a certain
goddamn
time.
ready.
You're like
Yeah.
5 car lengths. You know, it gets a little questionable at that point, but I
yeah.
will pull over.
Yeah, those.
Not before it's
I'm not a
time, but
violent
okay.
man.
Yeah.
I'm not a violent man, but the one time in my life where I wanted to just like throw a rock at someone's head was I was in Italy and this ambulance was trying to get through the street. And this kid was on his bicycle right in front of him and he was laughing. He thought it was so hilarious. He was just sitting there going, hee hee hee. And the ambulance is full on going, wah, wah. And I was just like, oh, that guy
Was the
needs to
bicyclist
die.
in the middle of the road? What are you talking about?
Yes. It was
Oh.
literally, and he thought it was funny. He just thought it was like this, ha ha, I'm blocking this ambulance. And everyone was just looking and like, what the fuck are you doing? But he was laughing his head off. And I was just like, I want to knock that guy off his bike and just kick the shit out of him.
Pretty sure his mom found out and threw him a beating.
Yeah. I
All
wish
right.
I could say that was rare, but it's not rare. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So regardless
But-
of my personal issues, everybody, the fact is, get the hell out of the way if you see if you hear a siren and the lights at the same time,
Yeah, start looking.
pull to
Yeah.
the right.
because you never know, it could be your house that we're going to.
Right, exactly.
So
Or it could have
but
been like
on-
my house that I was coming from, and you need to
yeah.
get there.
So, but no, on a kind of semi-serious note, just remember that, cops, firemen, military members, we're just people. We're people like everybody else. We have personal lives, problems, all that stuff. And, we still show up to work every day and we're still trying to get out there and do what we can to help the community. So, just be aware of that.
Yes.
And I want our listeners to know also hamburger flippers, we're just like everyone else too,
It's a different kind of
Guys who
trauma
flip
you go
burgers for a
through,
living.
Greg. Yeah, the trauma you have to deal with is much different in terms of customer service.
I was just being silly. I know it's not.
That might be worse.
And
Yeah,
I
it-
salute you guys. I salute you guys for what you do. And
If
thank
you're going
God
to
you're out
salute, you need to do an actual salute. You just can't use the word salute, Greg.
there.
Do you know? There you go. That was,
How was
a
that?
really horrible military salute.
And I did it with my left hand.
You would have actually
It's
been
not-
Yeah.
put through a lot of punishment for saluting the way that you did. 'Cause
I'd be
you did
peeling
it
potatoes.
So wrong. You'd be excellent at kitchen patrol. Anyway, I want to thank Jeremy and Chris from the Washdown podcast, located somewhere in the hills of western Missouri, and it has nothing to do with West Bottoms whatsoever, but we truly appreciate them for coming on our show. This has been another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. And don't forget, everybody, to go to our YouTube channel. Next week, we're doing a live 2-hour show. It is the first annual Step Up to the Bar legal conference and awards banquet, and all food served will be virtual. If you're really hungry, bring your own lunch. And but we'll be giving away totally fungible tokens, everybody. Those are TFTs. They're worth nothing. So show up. Pay attention.
So the food is non-fungible.
Our website, yeah, food is non-fungible too. Website is www.qsblaw.org. Oh, do you guys have like a website, or where can they find your podcast?
So we have Facebook, the Washdown podcast on Facebook, and then we upload every Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. on YouTube and on Anchor FM, which spits it out to Spotify, Google Podcast, all that stuff. So
Okay, cool. So you're on Anchor.
we're
Great.
everywhere. Yep.
Awesome. All right, we're done.
You've left the offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's over. It's over. It's time for you to go home. It's over. It's over. Go away now.